Kofar Wambai in Kano remains a place where date answers its name, date and place of birth. Digging into the story of the ascendance of some of the traders here, a rich history of ties with North Africans, trading the produce that still keeps raising the dust of the trans-Saharan trade. Sadly, the traders here still sought after the dates produced in faraway Algeria, and their meeting point with the suppliers in Niger Republic. Though Nigeria has its own dates produced in Jigawa State, the dates from across our borders seizes the tongues of many, making it a darling to all.
If to say this buying and selling of date is carried out with an indigenous produce, we would have made a fortune. But the majority of the deals are done with imported produce because the indigenous cannot compete. For example, if you bring the local produce and store it within 3 days, a better part of it will go rotten. Again, we have another indigenous variety of the date which endures storage but fails woefully in scaling, and the value of date is determined by its weight. Farmers have to produce at least 4 sacks of date in order to weigh 1 sack compared to the one imported. This accounts for huge loss to the local farmers. But if authorities can go out there, get the same kind of seed for all farmers, and understand the strategy used by the farmers out there, that will help. The imported date can be stored for more than 1 year without any problem, except when water touches it. We normally go to Niger Republic to buy the date. There is like the meeting point with other Africans trading dates. You can get different varieties there, but it comes from Algeria. And another selling point for the imported one is its taste. Once you bring it, customers will quickly buy because our people like sweet dates. Our researchers need to find out how the imported one dries up at the top of the tree, while our own remains moist all through. I think the Ministry of Agriculture should wake up, consult us. We will take them to those places where they can learn and come back to impart on our farmers. Even the Americans have imbibed the process from the North Africans and have since become key producers of date.
Nigeria will definitely want to play in the global supply chain, even if it is to only satisfy the tongues of its local demand. Putting its acts together means that its farmers must be ready with the right produce, test, and all-year availability. To Jigawa State, the hub of dates production in Nigeria, we headed. and what we were confronted with in date farms leaves much to be desired.
In a typical date palm farm like this one behind me, it is very common for you to find some of them that will continue to hit the skies like this one, growing taller every year without producing any kind of fruit on it. The problem lies here, the seed. It is very identical and very difficult for farmers to differentiate between the productive and non-productive ones.
The estimate of the date farm trees I inherited could be around 48, and among the 48, honestly, only few bear fruit. This is more than 10 years that I inherited the farm. This year, only one of the date farm trees produced enough fruit. Some of the trees don't produce, and some that produce end up becoming tiny and sucked. I also have another variety. We call it Siki. It produces during rainy season, and because mine didn't do well, I got someone who bought the whole bunch from one tree at 10,000 naira.
Back to Kano, I went straight to the Center for Dry Land Agriculture in Bayero University. The serenity of the place says a lot. But a lot is the solutions the place brings to the table and the field of agriculture, especially as it breaks the jinx in revealing the productive and non-productive seeds of the date.
One of the big breakthroughs we have is discovery of the sex of debt. You know, in this part of the country, especially in Jigawa State, we have a lot of debt around. So one of our researchers, in fact, 2 PhD students, discovered the sex of the debt, and that has helped farmers of this produce, and discovery of the sex has made them to make a lot of savings. Formerly, before the discovery of the sex of the debt, you find that when farmers plant, they have about 60% lost, because the seed consists of male and female, and the male part of the seed doesn't produce anything. You see that farm growing, but without producing anything. It's only the female that produces, something that is used. And this has given almost 100% yield to farmers on the ground. So that is one of the success of that center. The center has been assisting farmers around this area and in northwestern part of Nigeria with a lot of research discoveries, and this has improved yield, and the economic condition of farmers in the area has tremendously improved. So we are really proud of this Center of Excellence. They have been doing a lot, and we have now ventured into PhD programs and master's programs where students across Nigeria and even abroad, we have large number of foreign students coming in to key into our programs.
We have done a lot of impactful research that has led to a number of breakthroughs. For example, some two and a half years ago, a group of farmers from Jigawa came to visit me in the office, and their major concern is that some of them grow date palm, which is a very important tree crop, of course, in Nigeria. And because date palm is dioecious, the male plant is different from the female plant. And very often farmers cannot differentiate from the seedling stage until maybe after 4 or 5 years, after tendering and everything, they may realize that maybe half of the plants are male and will not bear fruits. And probably they may have to cut them. So I tell them, okay, we'll see how we can work on it. And I gathered our researchers, and they were able to use molecular biology techniques to identify the sex at early stage of the seedling, from extracting the DNA of the leaves and identifying the markers for male sex. They can identify male or female at the seedling stage. And that has reduced the risk for farmers. And based on that breakthrough, the governor of Jigawa, the former governor of Jigawa, Badr Mohammed, visited here and ordered us to produce 100,000 seedlings for farmers in Jigawa, which we produce and deliver to them. So this is one of the breakthroughs. Of course, there are so many other things. For example, we are talking about climate change. We are working on understanding what are the future scenarios. We have done a lot of research modeling what are the possible things that will happen in the future. We have worked on developing mitigating strategies. We are working on agronomic ways of addressing some of these issues. You just talked about flooding a while ago. These are some of the things also we have been researching on. Through some small grant from PASET, we are working with communities on how to respond and communicate information about flood risk, especially in Jigawa State. The Africa Center of Excellence in Dryland Agriculture started as just Center for Dryland Agriculture. It was established in 2012 with funding support from the MacArthur Foundation. And the idea of establishing the center came up when BUK thought of bringing a research and training center that will focus on the immediate environment, which is dryland areas. And we also thought of the area as something that is not peculiar to Kano alone. If you look at this part of Africa, is having challenges of low rainfall, high temperatures, and so on. And this stretches from Senegal up to Djibouti. So Bayero University thought of creating a center that will do training and research that will impact the society. So in 2012, the university, through the support of MacArthur, established this center. And just about 2 years after its establishment, we saw a call from the World Bank seeking to establish regional centers of excellence. It's a competitive call. We applied among so many other universities across West and Central Africa and won a grant to become an Africa Center of Excellence. And the idea of Africa Center of Excellence is that you get university centers that will specialize in specific area, and students from all over Africa will come and train in that area. And this was born out of the realization by African countries and by the World Bank that for Africa to develop, it must tap into the knowledge economy. And to tap into the knowledge economy, you must have very good postgraduate education. Good postgraduate education at the moment is difficult in Africa because of poor facilities and so many other challenges. So if you say you are going to train Africans outside Africa, it's going to be almost impossible because of the cost. But if you set up regional centers, then it prevents duplication in other countries. Somebody can come to Nigeria to BUK from anywhere in Africa and train in dryland agriculture. He can go to, for example, Ghana and train in plant breeding. So you have specific, very excellent regional centers that will train Africans to become very good and provide the necessary manpower and research outputs that will improve the productivity and economy of the continent. So that was the idea of establishing the centers. And we were selected by the World Bank in 2014, and we became Regional Center of Excellence. As of today, we've had students from 15 countries of Africa that have come here to study PhD, MSc, or professional short courses. Also, in 2019, after the end of the first phase of the project, we applied for the second phase, which was the call came out in 2018. And we were again competitively selected for funding to continue as an Africa Center of Excellence. Additionally, in 2019, there was another Pan-African initiative led by the presidents of Rwanda and Senegal called PASET, Partnership for Innovation in Applied Science, Engineering and Technology. The idea also was similar to the S idea, to develop critical human resource in Africa. And the project wants to train 10,000 PhDs within a particular period. So they decided to seek excellent centers in universities across Africa to provide that training. And we were one of the 15 centers selected across the whole of Africa as a PASET Africa Host University. So these are some of the activities of the center in terms of training. It is an Africa Center of Excellence supported by World Bank and the French Development Agency, AFD. It is also an Africa Host University under the PASET initiative. BUK is one of the only 15 universities that are providing this service. And in the area we are, that is, we specialize in this regard in the area of climate change. We are only one of 5 universities that provide that training.
The researchers here did not stop, but also found more clues for improved varieties.
Well, you know, this is research, and for tree crops, it takes a bit of time. So the teams are working not only on date palm, on different crops, on sesame, on sorghum, on hibiscus. We have teams that have started working, and hopefully in the next few years, you will see new varieties with new traits, and you will see improvement also in the way they are produced. Tissue culture is just simply another way of propagating plants en masse. You propagate them in such a way that you reduce disease occurrence because you are starting from laboratory, from sterile environment. What we have there is a facility mainly for research. We have a number of students working on different aspects. For example, there's a PhD student now that is working on endangered tree species. She's developing protocol for mass propagation of those tree species, such as Prosopis cria. It's one of the species that is becoming extinct, and she's working on finding fast ways of propagating them. Of course, for other low-hanging fruits like banana, we have been using tissue culture to propagate thousands of seedlings of banana, which we plant on our farm.
These not only put smiles on the faces of date farmers with economic boost, but a huge first lift for the university.
During the latest ranking by Times Higher Education, which was released some couple of months ago, Bayero University is number 4 university in Nigeria. We are coming after Lagos, Ibadan, and Covenant. Bayero is number 1 and is number 4. We are number 1 in northern Nigeria. There's another ranking that took place about 2 months ago by the same body, and we became number 3. And this time around, they tried to rank universities that are less than 50 years old in Nigeria. We are a university that has been in existence for more than 45 years. We have 18 faculties. We have a student population of more than 45,000. We have about 6 campuses. We have departments, about 95 departments. We have over 190 programs. So as you can see, it's a very huge institution. Bayero University is number 4 university in Nigeria. We are coming after Lagos, Ibadan, and Covenant. Bayero is number 1 and is number 4. We are number 1 in northern Nigeria.
Back to the date farms, I saw potential with the willingness of a people to make a headway. And what they need is a little push, but a critical one that could open up these hidden treasure, soaring into the skies with its bunch of sweet honey.